doing the end of January patch for the Revolution format. We have 28 changes up and coming here. I've been told that it's one ban among those 28 changes for the second time ever in the format history. Now, I've only been playing the format for about 2.5 months, but hopefully I can provide some insight as a newer player to, how these changes feel. Some things going in that I'm hoping for. I am hoping that the Sultai Flash deck that recently won the GP gets a change. I think the main target will probably be Harbor Mail. We know that Harbor Mail is definitely an outlier in terms of power. It's very much proven itself by this point to be extremely strong, and I think it's highly unlikely that it does not get changed today. I think the Aqua Crew from the same deck is likely also going to receive a change. It's proven itself very capable of basically crushing any other deck once it's out on the field. I think also possibly Warden of Depths from that deck is going to get a change because it does let you do some face-up counter magic from the graveyard, which is always a little icky. I wouldn't stake my reputation on Warden of Depths getting changed, but I do think it's possible. The other deck I think is definitely going to receive some changes is the Berry Master deck, or well, I should say the Berries deck. It basically revolves around, spamming the board with a bunch of artifacts, berries specifically, and then winning with a couple of combos. You have Smiling Sludge and Scrap Weight, Berry Master, and literally any berries card. If you can't tell, I am hoping that Berry Master does get nerfed in this patch because that card is tough to fight. A couple other changes I think may come through. I think the Titan cycle, specifically the, what was the name? I can't remember if it's the Unflinching Titan. Nope, not Unflinching. Maybe Unyielding. Yes, so the Unyielding Titan, I do think it's going to get a change. Oh, well, a little bit of a sneak preview. It has in fact gotten a change. It has gone from Death Touch to Menace. So that is my bad for looking that up early, but a little bit of sneak peek. Cool, that is good to see. All right, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the changes with the end of January patch for Revolution. Let's scroll up to the top of the message. Alrighty, here we go. So let's get the little format updates out of the way. GP winner, Avert Disaster, is here. If you haven't seen that art, it is a really good art pick. League Hunters have pulled 8 new foils and 24 new shiny cards. Holy crap, that is a lot. That is very good. Ooh, shiny odds are doubled. Okay, I love to see that because, as you may know, I have been struggling to get shiny Trico, and this is a great thing. Oh, General Diadem Usurper is banned. We anticipated rebalance and unban next month, but didn't make the deadline for February. General Diadem, is that who I think it is? Let me go ahead and look that up. General. Oh, you know what? It might be rotated. Huh. Interesting. I did not expect the Berry deck to get that hit. It is possible that the curators felt that General Diadem was a free sack outlet, similar to Scrap Weight, that was really disgusting with cards like Smiling Sludge, which makes me think that Smiling Sludge may still be unchanged, which is interesting. General Diadem. Was not expecting that as the ban going in, but I do see the justification. And I can see here that they are saying that they're going to rebalance and unban next month. So this is not going to be a permanent ban, possibly. Okay. Interesting. All right, let's move on to the card changes. I am ready for this. Okay. Berry Fermenter no longer gives berries the abilities. Instead, it has tap, sacrifice a berry, add 1 mana of any color, and 2, sacrifice a berry. You gain 3 life. Oh, thank God. Okay, this is a really good change. Okay. So now you can only sacrifice 1 berry a turn to add 1 mana of any color. And you can only do that once a turn. That is so good to see. And you even have to tap the Fermenter to do it. Okay, that's great. And it still keeps the food ability that the berries had before, just ties the ability to the berry fermenter itself, which I love to see because the food ability was completely fair and did not need to get touched. So this is a good way to change it. Okay, I'm a huge fan of this change. All right, next up we have Bloomroot no longer has haste, but is now a kangaroo. I'm going to admit, I do not know what they mean by kangaroo, so let's see what they put it as. Oh, I figured it was a magic term, but no, it's literally just a kangaroo now. Okay. Well, for all the kangaroo fans out there, they will be really hyped. Yeah, I think that was probably a pretty solid change. Bloom Brute was definitely on the stronger side, in specifically the berries deck, so I think this is a pretty good touch to the deck. Just a light tap. Alright, next we have Brass Oracle is now 2/2 from 1/1, and its second trigger can now only hit opponents from any target. Let's pull that up, because I believe I know what it did, but I want to make sure. Yeah, okay. So, it still grows, and it can still burn your opponent's face, which was part of its power, but it can no longer control your opponent's board, which I think is a really fair change. So, yeah, I'm in support of this. I think the Orbanoid deck is probably going to get another touch, though, when we get to Orbanoid's part of the patch notes. Brief Stop now returns a card to its owner's control. Additionally, you can choose to have the card return immediately or at the beginning of the next end step. Yeah, that's fair. It was very frustrating to go against the steel decks with stuff like Nosa, so yeah. Here, I should pull these up for everyone who's watching this video who's not familiar with the format. So yeah, Brief Stop is now under its owner's control, now at the beginning of the next end step. Yep. I don't think it kills the card. I think there is still the potential of a blink deck that can hit, especially a blink spell that can hit any permanent, but a blink deck that can run this. But I think we're going to have to figure out what that is. Maybe something with Titans, though that does stretch your mana a bit. We'll have to see. Okay, moving on. Callistio the Tech has changed to whenever a creature control deals combat damage to opponent, exile a top card of their library. Until end of turn, you may play that card, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. Oh, okay, interesting. Let's go ahead and look at that. Callisto. Interesting. So it's no longer an upkeep trigger. So it's no longer just an infinite value control piece. You do actually have to get into the red to get your cards. Well, I think that's fair. Callisto was definitely a strong piece to have against certain decks, but yeah. This was not even remotely on my radar, but I get the justification. Alright, Destructive Interference now says X can't be 0. Yeah, that makes sense. So, for those who don't know, let's go ahead and pull up Destructive Interference. So, it used to say creatures of power X or less can't block this turn. Period. And it was a pretty good draw engine, but it was nothing busted, Before Chiku Chaos Reigns came to the format, I don't even think it was on people's radars much. So don't quote me on that, because I was not around when this card came out. However, with a card called Seal Shoals, which lets you make a 2/2 white and blue seal orb if you've activated 2 or more non-mana abilities this turn. I can't read. It did let you make basically Seal Shoals restriction completely free. So you would just make a 2/2 each turn, including on your opponent's turns, which was obviously pretty strong. I don't think I ever saw a deck that actually put this combo on deck lists, but honestly, if we're nerfing the other top decks, I think it's a good idea just to preemptively say, no, let's not do that. Endangered Synox buff ability has been placed with when blank dies, put a +1/+1 counter on up to one target creature. I have no idea what Endangered Synox is. 1 second, let's go ahead and look that up. It's a common. When it dies, put a +1/+1 counter on up to one target creature. Okay, so this seems like a limited change. I doubt this is still going to see any constructed play. I might try it, but as the mono green player, I am not super enthused. But again, it's a 3-mana 3/3. That's not too bad. Alright, Extraction Mission is getting changed. Extraction Mission now costs XB from 2B, returns a creature card with mana value X or less, and sacrifices a token at end of combat from end of turn. Ooh, man. That is... that is a huge change. So, okay, this is actually interesting, because I think it does open up the card a little as a 2-mana spell, right? Oh, but then you don't get the flash. Oh man, I have no idea how to evaluate this. I think it is overall a net nerf, but I don't think the card is dead. I think it still has some potential. But man, that is tough. Yeah, no, just thinking about the play patterns here, it's definitely going to be a slower card. I think you can build it to be a slower deck that maybe takes advantage of creature cards with like mana value 4 or 5. Like, I don't know, if you pay 5 and a black to return a 5-drop and get a token copy of it at instant speed, that doesn't seem too bad. I think that's honestly has some potential. But I think the deck that played like 3 CMC or less is no longer going to be a thing, because paying 4 to get a 3-drop and a copy of it just does not seem very worth it right now. Okay, let's move on. Moving on, we have Gubernatorial Fundraisers, now a 2/1, and creates a treasure token when you spend 3 or more colors to cast a spell. Yes! I love this change. Oh my god, please. Okay, pull this up immediately. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna jam this so hard. Oh, Dante is back. Dante and Iviana and the whole gang. Oh my gosh, this is wonderful. Okay, so like, besides my pet deck, or well, that's actually Stasis's pet deck. Besides Stasis's pet deck, I think this is still actually a really good card outside of that. I don't know what shell it goes in an actually competitive deck, but I think whatever that shell is will absolutely be able to take care of, use this treasure ability. You can curve it into turn 3. Oh man, any pleasure. Oh my gosh, I'm not even thinking about pleasures. If you play like this into like grassroots campaigners, which here, let me pull up that card. So you pledge, so you get 2 treasures, so you have 6 mana on turn 4, and that's by playing creatures on curve. That's good stats. That is good. What can, and then you can like play Dante and have the treasure up. You can play Iviana. Okay, I keep saying cards from the pet deck. I need to think of actually good cards. I mean, Iviana's a good card, and so is Dante, but not the deck I was running. Wow, yeah, this is a huge. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a huge buff. Yeah, this is a huge buff. I love to see this. Okay, let's move on. Oh, thank God. Harbor Veil now only triggers on casting for survey costs and costs you to recast on top. Thank God. I mean, I kind of thought they were just going to ship it to 2 mana and leave it at that, but I really like this change more. When then you cast a spell for survey costs, if Harbor Veil is exiled the stamp counter, it may play blue and put it into your graveyard. You use Sir Will. Oh my God, that's perfect. Okay. Yeah, so I think Harbor Mail is definitely in a much more fair spot now, but they didn't kill the card, which is good. I think this still has a ton of potential with to like bin cards. I think as long as the Aqua Crew escapes without a nerf, I think it could still be a top deck. Though we haven't gotten to the T or Warden of Depths W section yet, so we'll have to see how that goes. But I think this is an excellent change. Okay, moving on. No time to waste. It now costs 2 in a blue, 2 less if it targets an artifact, and gains control of the target on the turn until the end of your next turn. Oh. Okay, this is kind of an interesting change. So let's go ahead and look at that. No time to waste. Yeah, so they're just the steel and flicker deck is kind of just getting gutted right now. I don't think this is a nerf per se. Well, no, it is a nerf, but I don't think it's that bad of a nerf. I think this could still see some play in a certain kind of shell. I don't know what that shell would be though. Man, that's tough. Alright. I'll have to think on that and come back to it later. I mean, smarter people than me will be able to build this deck. Alright, let's move on. Opal Eye Care. Oh, okay, so we're having some nerfs for... I'm assuming this is probably a nerf for Eternal. Opal Eye Caretaker's ability has changed to when Opal Eye Caretaker enters, put a +1/+1 card on each creature you control that entered this turn and wasn't cast from your hand. And now has Wander 1 white from 2 white. Yeah, so this is a nerf for the Persist deck that was popular in last month's Eternal GP. I don't think the Persist deck is going to continue to be a thing when we go back to Eternal, because without Opal Eye Caretaker, the other options are not great. But, well, you know, I mean, okay, let me pull it up so people can know what I'm talking about. I think it's still a good card. It's still a Savannah Lions. Wander 1 white is honestly not bad. Like, you can attack turn 1, or play turn 1, attack turn 2, and then wander at turn 2. Is that worth it? I'll have to think on that one, but I think Opal Eye Caretaker has some potential in other decks. Now. Okay, ooh, big Orbonite rework. Alright, Orbonite has been reworked. It is now a 3-2 with whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, Orbonite gets +1/+1 against trample on the turn, and no longer taps for mana. Yeah, I think Orbonite combo is dead. Losing the whole reason to play the deck is definitely bad for the deck. I don't think the new Orbonite is going to see any play as is either. It was nice knowing Orbonite while it was around, but yeah, I think it's gone. Well, okay. Ozenwood Merc. Oh, okay. I think I know this card actually. Ozenwood Merc now has, at the beginning of your first main phase, you may add 1 mana of any type instead of its death cantrip. Oh. Let's look at that. beginning of your first main phase, you may add 1 mana of any color. Fascinating. Okay, I might have to try this in mono green, because this is actually a really interesting change. This lets you attack on turn 2, or sorry, turn 3, with Ozone to Merc, and potentially play a 4-drop as well. Oh god, I'm imagining the Jen Slope Skitter lines. Here, let me pull up Jen's. That is... Oh god, can you imagine playing Ozone to Merc turn 2 and then Jen's turn 3? Oh man, that sounds so good. I don't think that's actually a competitive deck, but I'm definitely going to try it. Alright, yeah, I think that's a good change. I mean, it wasn't bad before, but it just wasn't constructed playable. Alright. Moving on. Planned Obsolescence now has enchant artifact creature, planeswalker from non-land permanent, and triggers whenever you control a permanent with a higher mana value instead of when a higher mana value enters. Ooh. That is a big buff. I think. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so then the moving from any time to from an enters trigger to any time is definitely a buff. But the losing the ability to hit enchantments is rough, because I think enchantments is like the most popular non-creature subtype right now. Especially now that Barry's got a light tap, and I think I'm seeing some further Barry nerfs later. So yeah, I definitely think that this is going to be. I think it's a good card now. I think it was already a good card before. I didn't personally play it because it's not my kind of deck, but now I think it's definitely a good card, especially since you can play it as a removal spell, and it'll remove something the turn it comes down. Because before, you kind of had to play it first and then something, and sometimes that meant you had to play it and then play something on a later turn. But now it just exiles like whenever you have something higher mana value. Let me look at the exact wording to make sure I'm not speculating on this without backup. Yeah, no, that is just the moment you control a permanent with greater mana value. Man, I don't even know what deck wants to play this. I assume like control decks that really want to hit artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers for 1 mana, which I mean every control deck wants to do that, but like one that has high mana value permanents that they want to play. Maybe like a Sheng-Fa list. Okay, Sheng-Fa can get this back, which is kind of interesting. I like that for Sheng-Fa, because Sheng-Fa gets this. Let me make sure I have Sheng-Fa's wording right. Okay, so it's not as good as I thought, because I forget you have to get it back at the next turn's end step, but it does kind of lock them out of playing artifact creatures or planeswalkers if they can't deal with Sheng-Fa before it comes back, because it just exiles something immediately. Okay, yeah, I am on board with putting this into mono white control, because I think Sheng-Fa and I want to say Cassia? Yeah, Sheng-Fa and Cassia are probably a pretty good amount, and I'm sure you can run like what's it called? The Fall of Tracks now to trigger it. Like, there's so many options, and oh man, you can get it back with what's your name? Urban Explorer. Yes, that's going to be huge. Holy shit! Wait, that is insane. You play it like on turn 1 or 2. Urban Explorer comes down turn 3. Okay, wait. So I don't think you get to target it with Urban Explorer. Yeah, I don't think Urban Explorer is a. Urban Explorer already hits the battlefield, and you have to choose its targets before Obsolescence exiles. So I don't think you get to return it with Urban Explorer. So it's not as cracked as I thought, but it's still really good with Urban Explorer. Ooh, and Yeji. Yeji is going to love this now. Oh, that might actually be even better than it is with Explorer. It's even a 1 mana spell to help trigger Yeji. Oh, we're gonna see Yeji come back. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, cool. All right. I think that's a good change. Scrapweight can now only be activated as a sorcery. Thank God. For those who don't know, this is Scrapweight. It was basically just a combo piece. The removal mode was used, but it wasn't the point of it being in the deck. It used to not have the activate only as a sorcery clause, so if you played it, had a bunch of berries out, and let me see if I can get. No, it's sludge, not slime. If you had Smiling Sludge out, you basically just drained your opponent to death before they even had a chance to respond. So yeah, I'm in support of this getting changed. I think it could still honestly see play. 1 mana value permanents are very good in this meta. If you cost 1 or less, you're very good. If you cost 3 or less, you're still pretty good. I think this could still see play. I mean, Berries hasn't gotten hit as hard as I thought it was going to be. So I think it's definitely still has some potential as a deck. All right, moving on. Smart Shopper now makes 2 berries from 3. Okay, I just want to make sure it makes 2 berries when you spend 3 or more mana, not just all the time. Okay, yeah, cool. So yeah, good change. I personally wasn't of the opinion that Smart Shopper was the issue in that deck. I mean, yes, it generates a lot of cardboard, but I really didn't take umbrage with Smart Shopper. But if this is how they want to choose to nerf the deck, that's good. I think it's still a good change overall because, well, I mean, they're changing Smart Shopper and they're changing Bloom Brute, so I think they're just kind of in general killing a lot of the best berry generators. So we'll have to see how that affects the berries deck. I think berry deck will still be tier 1, honestly. Or, well, I don't know if I can use the word tier 1 because we don't know what the tiers are. Not enough activity with the berries deck in the GP, but I think it's still definitely going to be a top dog. All right. Temple of Origin now turns unchosen colors of mana into sea instead of turning off. This is an add replacement, so it occurs after Coalesce lands. That's a good change because for those who don't know, let's get that up there. Nope. There goes Age of Tracks. There you are. Okay. Temple of Origins. If you had mana color that wasn't chosen, add sea instead. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Oh, if you had mana of a color that wasn't chosen, add sea instead to your entire mana base. Oh. Okay, wait, this actually might have some potential. Interesting, because now I think you might be able to run 3 colors with Temple of Origin, and just like the third color is a very light splash. How does this work if you play 2 temples? Like if you play 1 temple on blue and black and you play the other one on black and red and you try to add blue or red, I'm assuming it is colorless. Someone can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but okay. I don't actually think this is pretty much not much of a functional change. I think it's still mostly going to serve the same purpose as it did before. It might have some small new combo available to it, but I don't think it's actually going to affect much. I'm assuming this was just made to counteract the Aqua Crew and Magma Crew's ability, which would turn off Temple of Origins. I'm not going to pull up... Well, I guess I can pull it up. Let's pull up the Aqua Crew. I don't know if it got changed, because if they're changing Temple, they might not change Aqua Crew. Alright, when Aqua Crew enters, mill 6 cards and you gain 1 life for each card, tap on 1 card in your graveyard. That's still the same. Once each turn, whenever you cast... Oh, once each turn. I think that's new. When you cast a spell from your graveyard, you have target non-land permanent become an island land. It loses other types and abilities indefinitely. Okay, yeah, so the Temple of... Okay, well, we'll get to the nerf later, but the Temple of Origins change does still go in effect because the Aqua Crew and Magma Crew are still around. Okay. The Berry Master can only be activated as a sorcery. Oh, thank God. Okay, this was definitely selfishly like the one card I was hoping would get nerfed. I am so happy it did. I mean, I think the design's really cool, but man, that card was so brutal to fight. It made combat a nightmare. So, okay, I think this is a really good change. And honestly, I think the Berry Master could still see play. Like, it still cuts down on your opponent's board really well once you have, like, a sinful glut of berries. So, yeah, we'll have to see if berries is still a thing, because this is now, what, like 5 nerfs to the deck? So, yeah, it got hit. We'll have to see if it's still a thing. The Ruins Awakened can now only be activated as a sorcery. Yep, that makes perfect sense. I didn't even know it could be activated in an instant before. That is news to me. I just figured it had as a sorcery built into it. But I guess that makes sense. They want to cut down on the whole fetch land thing. Yeah, okay. I mean, I have no comment on it. It's a pretty small change, but it's nice to see. Okay. Unyielding Titan now grants menace rather than Death Touch. Oh my God, did I just... Sorry, I just realized I skipped over the Aqua Crew and the Magma Council. All right, let's pull up the Aqua Crew because I think this is a very important change to talk about. So the Aqua Crew has gotten changed. I think we already discussed it, but once each turn, whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, you have target non-land permanent become an island land. It no longer just absolutely devastates your opponent's mana base if you ever untap with it. So you're limited to once each turn, and it can't hit lands anymore. I think those are really good changes that still help it be a really strong card, very flavorful card, but it's not busted anymore. Because I do think it was really strong before. Oh, I'm getting Discord pings, but those are definitely gonna have to wait. Um, yeah, I think this card is still good. The Harbor Mail change wasn't too devastating, so I think Sultai Flash is going to continue to be a thing. And I'm looking forward to it. Because I think it's a really skill testing deck. So, and I guess we can go look at the Magma Council too, even though I don't think they're going to be... I mean, the Magma Council already was not seeing much play, so I don't think this nerf is going to help them much. I mean, I do want to build a Magma Council deck one day, but like, it is just so much harder to play the Magma Council than it is to play the Aqua Crew, because the Flash just helps so much. We'll have to see. I do like that the Magma Council still works with fetch lands, because you can play your fetch land on your turn and then crack it during your opponent's turn, so that line still works. So it's not a total nerf for the Magma Council. I think they're actually, I'm pretty sure they're still fine. Honestly, in Mardu, there's not very many ways to ramp 2 lands a turn, so this may not actually affect them too much. I mean, not being able to hit lands kind of sucks for Magma Council, but I do think it's a play pattern that probably shouldn't be encouraged. So I think overall, I'm a little sad it got nerfed as well, but I don't mind. I like having the symmetry, and I don't think it's that bad of a change. Alrighty, sorry, where were we? Unyielding Titan, yes. Now grants menace rather than Death Touch. Yeah, we saw that earlier. I think this is an extremely good change because, oh my god, this thing was so annoying to attack into, especially when it can make Death Touch blockers at instant speed. I really like the Titan cycle, so I'm happy to see that they're getting just lightly tapped and they're still going to be a thing. I am a little sad. Where are you, Blue Titan? I'm a little sad on Speaking Titan didn't get tapped, but it is still a relatively untested card, so I suppose I might have to play some games with it and prove that it needs a nerf. But we'll see. That's not really the point of this video. Alright, last check. Warden of Depths not only grants service and flash during the ending phase of each turn. Oh, that is fascinating. Okay, let's look at that change. Warden of Depths. Fascinating change. Okay. The first spell you cast during each opponent's turns costs blue black the test. During each ending phase, non-land cards in your graveyard have flash and surface. The surface cost is equal to their mana cost. Oh my gosh, that is super cool. Okay. So basically you just become... I don't remember. I think there's a card in Canon that does this too. But so basically you just get the last word on every turn, but you can't actually interact from the graveyard during most of your opponent's turn. You still get the cost reduction, so you can still hold up counter magic from your hand, but just not from the graveyard. I think this is a really good change to conserve Warden of Depths' like main thing, which was to come down and just be like the ultimate control finisher and hold up like powerful interaction during your opponent's turn. But I think it's definitely going to be less oppressive than it was before, because it was pretty hard to get out under Warden of Depths once it landed with counter magic in the field. So I think that, yeah, this is a good change. Very good change. All right. And then we have some Eternal Focus changes. Never Do Wells is now a 1/1 for 1 black from a 3/2 for 3 black. Ooh, that is quite a drop. Let us see what that does. Okay, we're going to do it as rotated and Wells. There you are. When it enters, create a 1/1 red rogue creature token menace. Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to see any play, unfortunately, for Revolution, but I like to see cards from Eternal get changed every once in a while. Seductive Gorgon is now a 1/2 for 2 black from 1/1 for 1 black. Its ability has had Scry 1 added to it. Oh, okay. Let's look at you. 2 and a black for a 1/2. Death Touch, sacrificing a creature. Each one loses life, Scry 1. Yeah, I think this is a perfectly good change. I think Free Sack Outlets at 3 mana is definitely a lot safer than Free Sack Outlet at 2 mana. And the Scry 1 is a worthy buff on top of it. So yeah, I don't really have much comment on it. I think it's a good change. Warden of Time is now an avatar. I don't know who you are. Oh, I guess that makes sense to bring it in line with the rest of the Wardens in GQ Chaos Reigns. Are they all Wardens in GQ? Warden, Avatar, Merfolk. Well, almost got there. All right. So overall, I think this was a really good patch. I think seeing General Diadem Usurper getting banned I like seeing it because they understand that Berries is definitely one of the strongest decks in the field, even if it didn't do like really well in the recent GP. I like all the other nerfs to Berries as the premier berry hater of the format. I am happy to see the deck change because I really do like the play patterns that I could see from berries once it gets into a reasonable state. You know, I really like this like currency of spending berries to do things. So I'm liking these changes and pushing the deck towards that direction. I think Sultai Flash is still going to be a top deck because Harbor Mail, Warden Adepts, and the Aqua Crew are still close to their previous power level. I think specifically Harbor Mail might be the weakest out of the three now, or at least weakest from where it used to be. I think it's still a strong cantrip. I mean, it's it's sorcery speed consider that could potentially draw you another card later. It's not bad. Orbanoid's combo's dead and gone. How you keep killing decks is beyond me, but I'm very impressed. Extraction Mission, as we know it now, is probably dead, but I think the more expensive version of the deck could still be a thing. Steel and Flicker deck is definitely dead. Persistent Eternal is probably dead. Yeah. And then what I'm excited to see from new decks emerging. Let's see here. Callisto. Might see a Callisto aggro deck, though I somewhat doubt it, but it could be possible. What else? Gubernatorial Fundraiser. That's probably the card change I'm most excited to play with, because I think this one has a lot of potential for like big mana decks, because we haven't really had a deck recently that like really leverages Golden Age to do just disgusting things. So I'm hoping that Fundraiser here can help with that. What else is there? Ozenwood Merc. I am going to try Ozenwood Merc in mono green aggro. I'm not sure if it'll be any good, honestly, but I think extra mana with the ability to still attack is something to consider. Planned Obsolescence, I think, is going to be a very good new removal piece for control decks. I think mid-range decks might also consider it, because I think it might be pretty good if you like... it's just so easy to weave in with Yeji turns, too. Yeah, I think Planned Obsolescence is going to see a remarkable uptick in play. Anything else that I think might be better now? No, I think that's about it. So, overall, great patch, and I am excited to see how the meta's going to shape up. You can find me in the Revolution League for the next week. I will be extensively testing mono green aggro and Dante decks. And yeah, this is Provocative signing off. See you next time.